Just want to real quickly thank everyone for joining us on a Monday night. A lot of, as I was handing out kits this afternoon with Billy, a lot of people were very excited to get a bag of whiskey. It sounds like overall, maybe more people needed this than I originally thought. So I'm glad we're doing it this evening. And it's also great to see so many faces, which makes it easier to watch and answer questions as we're going. I will also say that Aisha is recording this for our YouTube channel. So just keep that in mind that you are being recorded. So Sean, keep your clothes on as we start drinking these down. So for those who don't know me, my name is Bob Cutler, and I think I'd be shocked at this point if people don't know who I am. I already introduced Aisha, which many of you know from the dining room. And joining us from Louisville, Kentucky is Jake Lewellen of the Bourbon Lens podcast. I believe most of the people have at least heard me talking about the Bourbon Lens in the restaurant, in the dining room, or the bar, or wherever. But it's a true honor to have Jake with us. This past year, 2 months ago, I think Jake was the finals. But Jake was a finalist for the world's best whiskey taster, which started, I believe it was like 4 different rounds of competition, finally ending at Bardstown Distillery for the championship round, 1 of 5. And he didn't win. I think it was rigged, but I don't have any proof of that. But we're very fortunate and lucky to have him here joining with us. So Jake, thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for having me, Bob. It's crazy in 2022 now how all of this comes together, right? We mutually become friends over the podcast, some 2 odd years ago. And now, I'm trying to plan a trip to come to Maine, right? Like that's how crazy things have been. We're super excited to be here. Excited to share with you all kind of the experience that I had as being one of the world's top whiskey tasters finalists and contestants through that process, and walk you through a little bit of the experience that we had. I think the nice thing is you all will all have the opportunity to compete in 2022 to be the world's top whiskey taster. And we'll talk a little bit about what you should be looking for from Bardstown Bourbon Company in the coming months about opportunities to do that. And it's not too far. They have a New York regional. So if you are in Maine and you could make it to New York, you'll have an opportunity to do so.
Awesome. So in with your kits, everyone should have this little placemat that Aisha created for us. We are going to start with the grain. So the blue and the brown samples. Then we're going to go to proof. And then we're going to finish with age. So I think I said this to everyone when they picked up. Get your whiskeys open, let them breathe a little bit, let them open up. That will make tasting more enjoyable. But at the same time, keep your samples organized, because it would be really a shame if everyone's talking about the proof of the red one and you're tasting the green one. You may not be getting the same notes. So just try to keep those organized a little bit. It'll make the process more enjoyable. Spoiler alert, if you get it mixed up, I can't help you. You're on your own. So go from there. So we have our blue and our brown in front of us for the grain. Jake, when selecting grain, we're just as a refresher for everyone, we are keeping this to American whiskey. So we're not worried about Irish. We're not worried about Canadian. We're not worried about Scottish or Japanese. Yeah. So we made it a little bit easier for everyone. But when you're looking at, I feel like grain is the easiest. I don't know if that's just, it's pretty simple, right? You just have to drink a little bit to learn, and then you just go.
So what's really interesting is grain was the first one at every competition across all 5 regionals that they had. And grain's pretty easy. So what is the dominant grain in your pour? So your opportunities are corn, obviously, rye, barley, and wheat. So you have four options. And one of the two pours that you have in front of you was actually a staple across all five events. Scott, who is another member of the Bourbon Lens, is on tonight. He should be able to peg that one with relative ease. But when you think about grain, it's the dominant grain. So you could have a high rye bourbon, or you could have a low rye bourbon. So those are going to give you different things. So corn may stick out more than the rye. You could get a high rye bourbon confused with an actual rye whiskey, especially if it's a Kentucky style rye. So things to think about are, where's it hitting in your palate? What type of sweetness are you getting? And how does the grain ultimately hit? It's really about how it hits that different part of your palate, as what I say. Like corn, whiskeys, or our bourbons are more sweet, right? They're going to be really sweet forward. Rye are going to be spicier, so you can get them on the back end of your palate. So those are some of the tips and tricks. And the other way to get good at this is drink a lot of bourbon and or whiskey, and that'll help you kind of delineate which one's which.
And a range, right? Like if you're a Blanton's guy or gal, and all you drink is Blanton's,
yep,
you may be able to pick up Blanton's when you do something, but you're not gonna be as familiar with.
You're not going to understand barley content.
Right.
And you can be able to peg barley. And it's really funny. We were recording an episode last night, and so we did Blanton's versus E.H. Taylor single barrel. And as you mentioned, Blanton's is very interesting. You may not be able to pick up Blanton's over time because it's a single barrel. There's different expressions of it, right? So it's really important that when you go to understand these grain type whiskeys, pick something that's not a single barrel. Pick a small batch. Pick a bottled and bond, something that is not just one exclusive expression. Pick something that is in a season that is as forward as possible. Small batches are a great way to understand it.
So when you're tasting on grain, I feel like this one is very good on the, like, if you have a strong nose.
Yeah.
Like, this is where you can really win, is by nosing on both of these.
They say like between 75 and 90% of what you taste is what you smell, right? Somewhere in between there, depending on who you listen to. Your nose is important. So how do you nose bourbon or nose whiskey? At this point, a lot of people, they get up in here and they stick their nose all the way deep down in their Glencairn glass, and they're like, and then they're like, oh, all I smell is alcohol or ethanol. Well, that's not the way to smell. The way to smell, slightly crack your mouth, small, short breaths like a rabbit, like through your nose. And like that's
Jake
going to allow you to get the most flavor.
Jake has a son that's similar age as Jack. So when he says things like rabbit and, smell like a rabbit, he's probably used to talking to his 2-year-old. So he's,
Yeah. I mean, but it's to be honest, me and Scott learned that at a whiskey tasting event early on in the podcast. We went to a place, we went to Liquor Barn, which is a local liquor store here. And we did just a bottled and bond class, which that was our latest podcast release. Shameless plug. If you're not subscribed to Bourbon Lens on your favorite podcast listening app, please do so. We would
leave a 5-star review.
Yeah, leave a 5-star review and a comment if you like it. I mean, it's really interesting. So like going into the lighter whiskey, this is a fan favorite of the podcast. We really like this one. I told Bob to throw this one in for sure because I think it's going to miss a lot.
The brown, correct? You said?
Yeah, the really light looking one. I forget what color it was. I just dumped it.
Brown.
Yeah. The other one, so like that should be a giveaway of what it may be, right? So if it's not barley, hint, hint, wink, wink, it's got to be something else that's yellow. So the other one is different, right? It's got more of that bourbon, flavor. So I'd be interested in the chat, what kind of notes are you picking up? what are those things reminding you of as you sniff through this and taste it? I think it's really important that you verbalize what you're smelling or you verbalize what you taste. That is going to allow you to create some memory to it. No different than if you're studying for exam. If you just read a paper over and over and over again, you're going to not be able to commit it to memory over time. And what you want to do is be able to take your mental Rolodex when you smell a whiskey. What does it remind you of? What are the flavors you're getting? So in the chat, write them down. Would love to know what you all are picking up. And then I would say, to keep the process moving here, we spent about 15 minutes on the first thing. We only had 5 minutes to do this. And in my region, the brown one or the lighter colored one, everyone got wrong but myself. So even the people that qualified for the regional finals didn't understand what that one was.
This is one of my, the brown one is one of my, we've made some creative cocktails with this one in the past, kind of like riffs off old fashions that have been pretty popular. So, oh, I lost you there, Jake.
Somehow I muted. Okay, and I heard you were no longer allowed to make cocktails with this whiskey anymore.
Correct. I was banished from doing that.
Butter. That is a perfect note on the brown. Perfect note.
Ben is from Louisville, Kentucky.
Is he really?
Yeah. Ben, are you a Wildcats fan or are you a, what is it?
Lex Vegas. Oh, he's definitely a Cats fan. Cats by 90, baby.
Yeah, it was a tough game Saturday, but I'm from Lexington, Jake.
Oh, great. I did 6 years there. Loved it. I played football there. Oh my gosh. Allison, kick rocks. I'm sorry, but don't ever say that in the chat ever again. Go Vols. Wow.
Boo.
You may be the nicest person in the world, but whew, that was like blasphemy.
I don't even think she went to Louisville or went to Tennessee either. I think she's just trying to start a fight.
Well, she knew how to pick one.
Oh, she did. Okay, I stand corrected.
All right.
The second one, if we get into the blue, maybe.
Yeah.
Completely different color if you compare the blue and the brown, right?
Yep. So what are you getting? You tell me what your nose.
Well, it's hard, right? Because I know what it is. To me,
you can tell me what characteristics of the whiskey you're getting.
Yeah.
It's also hard out of a rocks glass.
Yeah. Well, I get a lot of spice.
Yeah. I mean, this one can be deduced pretty quickly.
Yeah. And I'm trying to like shut off the side of the brain that knows what I'm drinking to like.
To be honest, you told me what it was. I looked at it yesterday and I couldn't tell you. I mean, I could have told you what the brown one was just by looking at it. This one, I'm fairly certain I know what this one is now. But you know what's really interesting is this one has some rye content to it.
And you're saying that because of
what I'm smelling. So I get a little bit of a pine sol note. Actually, pine sol is one of my favorite whiskey tasting notes that I can get. If I get a whiskey that smells like pine sol, I'm more than likely going to love it. I love the little pine bristles. I love a little, like there's a cracked pepper and a little bit of lemon or citrus. Like it's just something that like, I think it smells clean. It leads to good distillate, cinnamon and pepper. Yeah, I mean, someone said maple. I can definitely see a little maple in there, but I think it's got a little rye content. So in the chat, I'm just gonna take this over for a second because I'd like to. Everyone take an opportunity right now. Brown, write write your answer, and then blue, write your answer. So is it corn? Is it wheat? Is it barley? Or is it rye whiskey? Or you can come off mute if you're bold enough.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, please come off mute if you like. Just
I'm going to say brown is corn.
That's 100% right.
Yes.
brown is Mellow Corn by Heaven Hill Distillery.
Bottled and bond.
The sweetness gave it away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, and like there's like buttery popcorn notes to it.
Right.
It's a good. It's a really nice staple whiskey for $15.
Mm-hmm.
I actually
Blue?
guessed right. No, I
anybody
don't.
have any thoughts on the blue? Jim, I see you reaching for your mute there. What are you thinking?
Notes of paint thinner. She smelled it with her nose, with her mouth.
Yeah, maybe.
I get rye, but I don't get like, it doesn't taste like a real strong rye like I've had it before. It's a little spicy, but not as spicy as a full rye would be.
So you're thinking a high corn or high rye bourbon?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Any other initial thoughts? No.
I mean, those are. I mean, I do believe that it's you know, as the expert. That's the biggest joke I've said today. I would agree. I would agree with what Jim said.
Old Overholt, bottled in bond again. So that is
a rye.
Great rye.
So what's really interesting about Old Overholt, right? Like, what style of rye whiskey is it? You know what I mean? A lot of people, like there's the true Indiana style rye, which is 95.5, or Maryland rye. A lot of people would consider that as well. And then you have Kentucky style rye, so barely legal, right? So it's 51% rye or just maybe 60% rye. And I think Old Overholt, if I'm not mistaken, is a Kentucky style rye whiskey.
It is. Yep.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I went to college in Bloomington, Indiana.
There you go. So you were looking for that true 95.5 big citrus or pine sol type notes.
Right. It's either that or Everclear.
With a tub full of fruit. Awesome. So, you know, I think what's really interesting is we did this, as we did this in person and we did the original tasting, 5 minutes goes really quick, right? And so you had to make snap judgments. And I would say if you ever get into these tasting events, make snap judgments, make it really quick, make them like, hey, I know this, and go with it. Don't second guess yourself. The moment you second guess yourself, you're like, eh. What was the name of the brown bottle again? Old Overholt bottled and bond.
And they have a couple different Old Overholts.
Yes, they do.
If you go to Stompers, I hate to say this, but it's at the bottom shelf to the far left of the rye offerings. But
don't forget to look on the bottom. Don't forget to look on the bottom shelf.
It's a very good rye in my humble opinion. The corn one is mellow corn.
Okay.
Awesome.
So now we're moving on to proof, right?
Yeah, we're going to go to proof. Start with the red.
So proof it can be difficult. If it's rye and it's super spicy, you could think that it's older. Rye matures faster, so it may not be that way. We can go ahead and deduce right now that neither of these are a corn whiskey, like like corn whiskey, meaning mellow corn, but you're going to probably have a bourbon in here. So one of them, like you got to start knowing your grains. Like how does that play into proof, right? So bourbon takes longer to mature. So if it tastes youthful and it's a little bit brighter from that perspective, you may get more sweet notes, less oak notes. So that could mask it and it be a younger. The younger whiskey may present as a higher proof, but it's probably proof down. If it's oakier, you may think it's older and higher proof, but it might be less proof. So these play together, as what I just said, they play together really well in both the proof part and the age part that we're going to go to next. For me, this was the hardest one. Age I could peg. Proof was very difficult for me. So we had a range within 5 points.
All right.
So the categories were 80 to 90, or 80 to 89, 90 to 99, 100 to 109, 110 to 120, and then 120 plus.
So we're starting with the red here. Aisha, maybe what you could do is, if you want to do a quick poll in a minute or two and let people guess what it is, starting at, let's call it 85. Yeah, 85 in 5 proof increments. And then, do you follow? Yeah. I think she's being studious. Okay.
No, I'm following. It's just not
Yeah.
letting me poll because the meeting is active and we have to do it beforehand.
Oh, see, there you go. So
if my kid would have been cooperating, I could have been down here earlier and we could have discussed those things.
So it looks like people are guessing the red is between 80 and 90, 100-ish.
$95, $80, not a shot, it's 80.
Now, if you're thinking, like,
You must have some Scotch drinkers in here.
I got to be honest, I think I'm very surprised at these.
A lot of 90 to 100. 80 to 90. Yeah, you have Scotch drinkers in here. 98.6. That's like a FM dial.
Yeah. Well, it would be what station? What is that? What's WVOM? I don't even know what it is.
103.9. That's the Christian station back here.
Double Q.
Double Q. I mean, just kind of going off of what I'm smelling, 100 to 105 is kind of where I'd go. If I were to peg a number, I'd say like 104 to like 107. I would actually go in the whole range of 100, 110. So like my 3-point swing would be 104 to 107.
Are you getting that from the smell or from the taste?
I think a little bit. It's got a good finish. Like it stays with me for a while. So that would obviously be taste. I think some of the smells that I'm getting has a little bit more of a like alcohol vapor to it, like on the initial like nose. And so like some of those ethanol notes tend to lean a little bit higher bourbon for me. But that's just kind of where I am. Again, I've seen them and I've forgotten.
The question was, why do you think they were Scotch drinkers? I'm assuming that's because the Scotch is sometimes coming in at a higher proof. So anything else is considered.
No, Scotch coming in at a lower proof than bourbon.
Lower proof, so this would be higher. Yeah.
Yeah. So lower proof with more flavor characteristics. So as I've started to dive into Scotch a little bit, the reason why I say I think you have Scotch drinkers because you can get 25, 30-year-old, 40-year-old cask strength scotches, right? That will drink a little bit higher proof from a flavor profile perspective, but their cask strength, because they've been aged for so long,
Yeah.
they're 85 or 90. So you get some of those harsh notes, but the harsh notes ultimately don't lead to proof. They lead to flavor, context, and profile.
Okay. Which would make complete sense, because if I'm ready to let go, I believe this is right. I'm going to double check this because the numbers were. One moment, please. Now I'm thinking I may have wrote this down wrong on my cheat sheet because I'm concerned about everyone's answers and this is overproofed. Aisha, do you have the thing in front of you real quick?
Yeah, do you want the proof?
Yeah.
It's 122.6,
Okay, good. I had it right.
yeah.
Larceny. 122.6 on the proof.
Yeah. So what's really interesting is wheated whiskey, right? So wheat is sweeter, which doesn't have a lot of the harshness. That's why I was thinking in the hundreds, like 110 to 120, like 100 to 110. Me personally. But that sweetness masks some of the harshness of the flavor profile. So wheated high proof bourbons are very hard to kind of probably delineate overall, like profile, like overall proof. Like that's why this is hard, right? Like I'm on the higher end of most of the people here, but it's still 122. Like,
yeah,
that's hard.
Do you when you're doing the competition, do they don't tell you like this is a wheated bourbon, now you're tasting a rye for proof? You have you have to pick up the wheated and then say, well, because it's wheated, it's going to be sweeter, which is going to disguise that proof a little bit and adjust your
So we didn't talk about this. So how did I go about it? Right. So each glass had a sniffer on top of it, like that was blocking the vapors. So you take them off at the beginning of 5 minutes. And so what happened was whiskey takes a little while to activate. Whiskey needs to oxidize, right? My estimation, that's a Jake thing. So I always swirled my glass for about the first 30 seconds. Everyone went right to nosing. So I swirled and swirled and swirled and swirled and swirled and swirled and swirled, almost to where the point it was obnoxious and it looked like I was a pretentious ass, which I wasn't being. It was just kind of like my thing. And then what I did was when we got to proof is I actually nosed all of them and said, hey, this is the grade. So for me, that allowed me to think cognitively, hey, this is corn, rye, whiskey, barley, whatever. And then from there, I could start to delineate, hey, I know that these whiskeys have these type of proof points. And so I could run the gamut. And so if I could figure out, like, if it was Knob Creek, I know they only make 100+ whiskey, right? Like if I smell cut, like nutty corn bourbon, it could be Jim Beam. Jim Beam's probably 100+ proof in what they did. So I drank probably the last 3 weeks before the first competition, 10 drinks a night, like just little baby sips to get an understanding of like context from a lot of different distilleries to start to like push forward like my flavor profiles.
No, honey, I'm studying, I swear. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a job that so it's funny. As I did that, I didn't drink for 2 weeks after the competition and I lost 15 pounds. Yeah. So you know, gotta do what you gotta do. And also I had a weird reaction to some bourbon I drank, and my tongue swelled really bad. So
I think that was mellow corn.
no, I drink mellow corn often. Someone said something about a master sommelier type something. I don't know. I couldn't read it. It was up and gone.
All right, so let's move on to the yellow.
This is gonna really mess with people. honey, like honeysuckle type notes.
I haven't had this bottle in a while. I forget that I like this one.
This one has like I was talking to Scott about Ricola lozenges the other day. And so this like kind of reminds me of a Ricola.
It's also going to be hard because we just had that 122. And now you're going to have to readjust your range a little bit,
I
potentially.
drank a ton of water. I
So
drank 5 bottles of water in 25 minutes.
On the contest.
I did not drink near as much water at the finals. I was also sick. I'm not using that as an excuse. I literally was sick. Like, I couldn't breathe.
Which is hard to smell if you can't breathe. So go ahead and drop these in. Scott Blake had a question. A late, what I would call like the hug.
Yep.
From your whiskey. Does that often, is that a sign of a higher proof?
Can be. I wouldn't say it always is like 100% correlation. I would say depends on how warm your palate is and what you've had, what you've drank. Some other foods can interact. Like I've had Mexican and then went and drank whiskey. Like that'll warm up my entire palate. And so everything drinks hot. So like eating bland food prior to is always a good estimation of things. Ultimately, the Kentucky hug is what they call it. I don't know. I think finish is important. It wouldn't be something I would concentrate on.
So let's go ahead and drop
on
your
Scotch are more important than finishes on bourbon.
finishes on what? I'm sorry.
Finishes on Scotch are more important than finishes on bourbon.
Okay.
Because the secondary oak of a Scotch or a barley produced product, like one single grain, is going to be more kind of like waves, right? It really rides the wave of your palate. Tip of your tongue, middle of your tongue, back of your tongue, palate. And it's going to hit different flavor profiles, where bourbon is going to either hit the tip of your tongue or the back of your tongue, and it's going to hit your overall esophagus. And a lot of people cough when they drink bourbon. They're like, I just took a hit or whatever.
Yeah.
It's really super interesting. This competition, it plays mind games with you. Because you think you know and then you don't know.
Yeah. Let's drop our ranges in. I'm going to be interested to see this. I think again, I know what I'm about to drink, so I know
this is blended. Someone's gonna hit this on the head, I think. If someone hits it on the head, if someone gives the exact number, they just throw it out there, I'll send them a t-shirt. There's someone that's close.
I think it's got to be on, for a t-shirt. It's got to be on. The shipping alone is going to be expensive.
It's only $3.
Oh, USPS. You got to hope they show up.
They've been doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Joey got his samples.
True. I got mine.
Yeah, but yours came UPS.
Yeah, that's true.
Joey's not even on here. What the heck?
Oh, he's here.
Oh, I didn't see him. Is he in person?
No, he's on my screen. He's 4 down. We're just talking about Joey. Say hi.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. I got to talk to my one person that I get to interact with.
I can't find the chat box, but I think it's 88.
88. All right.
I get to spend time with Joey tomorrow too.
Oh, tomorrow, yeah, 8:30, right?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Are we ready?
Oh, I need to post a Zoom link. Oh, I need to do that tonight. Damn it.
Does everybody have it in? 3, 2, 1.
It's Legion, isn't it?
Legion 94.
I someone put 93 in there. I saw
95, 93.
There was so many people that were right around it. I thought someone was going to get it.
I think 93 was the closest we got. I've been watching. And
Yeah.
95, I guess,
And
is one
95.
before.
Well,
That was good. And that was hard. I think it was hard. It would have been interesting if we would have tasted them backwards. The
Yeah.
lower proof first, if that would have been a little easier.
overbid.
Yeah, Price is Right rules.
The price is wrong, Bob.
If we had tasted the lower proof one first, if that would have been a little bit easier. But I feel like what made this a little bit more difficult was the sweetness and like that honey in the beginning.
So what's really interesting about Legion, right? Jim Beam merged with Santori, which is
Right.
Obviously one of the largest things. And when they came this out, like the idea was to bring the artisanal idea of blending to the States, right? Because blending is very difficult. I don't know if Japanese producers or Scotch producers would say Americans blend as excellent as they do. And so that was kind of like their idea to bring Japanese style of blending into this American culture. It's a really cool product. And I know Scott and I were really on it at the very beginning. We crushed our bottles. And then they relabeled, and the new label just is not what the first label was at all.
We have a question. What is the grain percentage on the Legion?
75% corn, 13% rye, 12% malted barley.
Yep. So with Beam, you're always going to have a very high corn content.
And Bob, what was the larceny?
For the grain,
Yeah.
69 corn, 20 wheat, 12 malted barley.
So it's still like, by Heaven Hill standards, that's a wheated bourbon. It's not a wheat whiskey, which is different. I mean, it's got to be 51% wheat. It's a wheated bourbon, Weller, Maker's Mark, those types of things. Wyoming, which is Maker's Mark, made in Wyoming. I mean, I love the boys in Wyoming, but same person who made Maker's Mark for 30 years made Wyoming.
I don't think David would be offended by that.
No, I told him, I said, hey, some of you are the 4
Yeah.
fives.
Single barrel, yeah.
Yeah, it tasted a lot like some of the high-end Maker's Mark. Scott put something in the chat. What did Scott put in the chat about Legion?
It says that from their website, Legion is a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, partially finished in wine and sherry casks.
So it's got a little bit of finish to it.
Which
So that's
probably
like-
also makes it a little bit more difficult to pick up the proof, right?
Yep. So it's blended back in some wine barrels. What year did I graduate from UK? That's going to tell you all how young I am. 2011. Well, I guess I graduated in 2012.
She found your picture, it looks like, on the when you were playing football at Kentucky.
Well, you know, it's so funny. They didn't update my picture my junior or my senior year. So I was never as big as I actually got. So my junior year is when I hit 290. And they never took a picture at 290. So thank the Lord.
Well, I just found a Facebook photo for my game at I don't know, back in like 2007. And I said, at least we can beat up on Kentucky. But
Oh
love
my
you all,
God.
Kentucky.
I was there. I mean, I was probably at that game.
I was there. Good times.
No, it's
We can
not
all
good
be
time.
friends now.
Not good friends. Good time, Allison. Not good times at all.
Come to Maine. We'll show
Did
you
we
a
go
good
to
time. We're all
New Year's
friends
Day
now.
bowl game?
So what?
What's that?
Did we go to a New Year's Day bowl game this year? I forget.
Oh no, UT lost. Real
Okay.
bad. Real bad. Yeah. To Purdue. It's fine.
It's all right. And then all the Vols fans were talking about basketball, and we drummed them by 30.
Because you're a basketball school.
No, actually, we're a football school. We were actually ranked in
Oh,
football than we were in
burn.
basketball.
I still call Maine a baseball school, so I get it. So moving on to age, we're into the green and the orange.
Which one are you going to start with first? So, in honor of Allison, this is the only time you will hear me say this. We'll start with orange.
We'll start with orange. Okay.
We'll start with orange. So, age is also a difficult one. Oak
Color
influence.
Color plays more into this, maybe?
I don't look at color when it comes to age. I don't look at it. And the reason I don't is because new charred oak right off the bat is going to give you oomph. It's going to give you color. It's going to give you flavor, right? Like, and so if you look at these two pretty close together, one's maybe a little more amber than the other. One's like the orange is a little more honey. The green's a little more amber. Where did it age? What rickhouse? Was it top shelf? Was it bottom shelf? Was it mid-tier? Was it one produced in the summer? Was one produced in the winter? Like, right? Like, it's just, there's so many variables that come with that. Was it in a heat? Was it a Brown Forman? Was it heat cycled? Right? Because all of Brown Forman's product come out super dark. Because that heat cycle warehousing, like, there's just a lot of factors. So, like, I just to myself, I was like, throw honey and amber are the same color. They are not. Go like every bourbon wheel has honey, amber, and something else right after it. Very close, but they're different. 311 would probably disagree with you on that one too. They didn't make what's the song they made? Amber. They didn't make honey. That's why you are the professional. A professional drinker. That's I'm going to change my title on LinkedIn to that. Think that'll get people going.
It would. I was called uppity in a online review over the weekend. So I mean, do whatever you want to do anymore.
I mean, look at that haircut. You can't be uppity with that haircut.
I think anyone who knows me knows that was probably
okay. So let's talk about this. Here's the tricky thing. Okay, Allison going 5 years. If it's a rye, be careful because rye matures so much faster than bourbon. So the breakdown was 0 to 3, 4 to 6, 6 to 9, 10 plus. That was the breakdown. So you have a 3-year age range. So 0 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 9, 10 plus. So drinking the orange. I think I may have probably tripped up a few people when I said that. Joey found the chat button.
Hey, Joey.
This one's good.
I love this expression. This is a good one.
Really wish I could remember what these were. Young. So he's putting that in the 0 to 3. Speaking of orange, we have a barrel coming out that's got orange liqueur in it.
Orange liqueur in it.
Yeah, well, it's finished in an orange liqueur barrel.
Oh. Someone did who was it that did, was it a rye finished in orange carousel barrels? Who did that?
Yeah, that would be Parker's.
Parker, that was so good. I loved that.
Also, Foregate did one in carousel, bourbon and carousel, and it's phenomenal.
Aisha, did you just see Nicole's yeah, there you go.
Roasting you.
Yeah, term expression is a bit uppity. Thanks. All right, everyone have their answers in?
Term expression is like key to bourbon and whiskey.
Yeah, I think she knows I'm mentally fragile, so she's gonna ride that horse. Your t-shirt is safe. Elijah Craig, 18-year.
Yeah.
Can't really, the bottle is not showing well because she's almost gone. But
So oak influence, single barrel, right? Let's first start there. Single barrel, wide variety. Doesn't have a ton of oak, which is interesting for an 18-year-old. However, I just want everyone to take a deep breath out. When you do, you will get oak and like mocha notes, which will give you an older bourbon. I would have said this was 10 plus myself.
that's a tough one too, though, huh?
It
Yeah,
is. Single barrels are difficult.
Single barrel made it harder, right? All right, so let's jump into to the green.
And when I gave my note about rye, people got real. All right. The green here. So we got our last and final. Did Billy make his appearance?
He's here, unless he fell asleep. He was here. Where are you, Billy? I saw him in the chat.
Billy's famous. I got a bottle with his name on it. Are you overboard, Billy? Did you fall asleep?
He may. Oh, there he is. I see him now.
at the wheel.
I am overboard, yes.
Wheel, Bob.
Thanks for putting up the Bob.
Yeah.
This is
This is the one I've been waiting to drink all day, I think. Yep.
I'm interested to hear what you think of this distiller after we tell everyone what it is.
Me personally,
Distillery? Yeah.
put it this way, what you taste today is going to be completely different than what you tasted in
5 years.
Mhm.
It's not Wyoming. I didn't do anything Wyoming because I figured everyone would know those bottles. Does the proof point make it a little harder to pick? Because this would also be interesting to ask people age, age and that proof range, like where they think that is.
So what's really funny, like we're not doing this tonight, but I mean, if we want to do like the one chip challenge, like the one whiskey challenge, I think me and you could come up with like a prize package, Bob. We pick one whiskey, and like anybody who did this, maybe they get like the next Bourbon Lens barrel pick, and if they can get grain, age, and proof, and guess the distillery, between me and you, we'll foot up, like me personally, and I'm putting your money on the line here.
Yeah.
We would front a bottle to anyone who wins.
Yeah.
And we got some good, cool barrel picks coming up.
So I'm seeing rugged, more of a hug. Allison's thinking Booker's.
She's not in the wrong town.
No. They just built a whole new facility.
They may have become the second largest producer of whiskey.
All right, let's drop in. Why don't we drop in some ages? And if you want to do extra credit for proof.
I will tell you right now, it is not Buffalo Trace.
And if you know the bottle.
If you know the bottle, that's a t-shirt. You all probably think, you're like, why the hell is this guy giving out t-shirts? Well,
You have a couple boxes of t-shirts?
I got t-shirts. And I want to do more limited edition merch for Patreon and stuff. I'm trying to get off these t-shirts. And they're paid for, so even better. That's a key number, she just said.
Which one? This 7?
Yeah.
7/129.
Well, and the second number, I don't know, but the first number I think was key.
Yeah, 3 to 6, 116. 127 from Ed. Ed, you want to drop a year in? How old do you think she is? I'm going to give everyone about 30 more seconds.
Where's Scott at? I'm waiting for him to drop in with something. I haven't seen his answers. Can have my podcast mate not actually submitting answers.
I'm looking at Rhonda. She looks like she's doing homework over there. She has her glasses on. She looks like she's writing down a bunch of things. I haven't actually seen her take a drink, but. Oh, there she is. Okay, good.
Scott's trying to win a t-shirt. My own podcast mate is trying to win a t-shirt.
Josh Scrogan, 7/100 Heaven Hill bottled in bond. I got to tell you, Josh, that's one of my favorite bourbons, but it's not available in Maine, so I couldn't legally sell it tonight.
Evan Williams light label is not legally, or is not.
Oh no, Josh Scrogan's Heaven Hill bottled in bond. Evan Williams bottled in bond is. I love that bottle.
So, funny story. Heaven Hill 7-year is not in Kentucky.
Really?
Yeah. They took away our 6-year white label, rat bastards, for $15.99. And then they got rid of, and they've not brought to Kentucky the 7-year bottle in bond. And to be honest, I'm not a fan of the 7-year bottle.
Right.
Probably because I had to pay $53 for it.
I think Scott.
No one guessed the distillery.
I think if Scott wanted it to, now he could throw it in real quick. Because
he can get a t-shirt if you want.
5 seconds.
Scott D did guess something recently.
Yeah. Old Ezra.
Oh, he guessed it.
Yeah. Old Ezra, 7-year, 117 proof. Congratulations, Scott. You get one of your own t-shirts. You probably already have one in your drawer. You have it too? Perfect.
No, this is,
I was gonna say that's a different bot. This
is the distillery, Lux Row.
Lux Row, yeah.
So
they didn't distill this. Is this MGP?
It is not MGP.
Okay.
It is a Kentucky bourbon, if you read the back of it. Our Kentucky straight, I believe. It is, so it's not, it doesn't have any other Indiana in it. They sourced it. So Lux Row opened their doors in 2018. They are a St. Louis company. Lux Row, I gave the hint I gave Scott probably made him understand where we were going, because they just merged with MGP. So Lux Row is now the name brand behind MGP. So like when we got our most recent press release, it talked about Lux Row Distillers. It did not, or Lux Co. It did not talk about MGP.
Oh, interesting.
Even though they are publicly traded as, I think it's MGI, Midwest Grain Instruments or something like that, or Ingredients. They are going by the Lux Co name out of St. Louis. Under that brand, Yellowstone Bourbon, Davies County, Rebel Yell, Ezra Brooks, Old Ezra 7, Lux Row, and then out of the Ross Squibb Distillery, you'll have Remus, you'll have David Nicholson, that's a good one. You'll have Remus, you'll have Rossville Union, Ayton Sand. So there'll be a lot of different things, but when they opened Lux Row, and then MGP also like ultimately came together as a conglomerate. They got a Kentucky bourbon out of it, and they got 2 Kentucky bourbons out of it.
Yeah.
Does there have extra credit for studying in advance?
That's some good homework right there, Dr. Schaefer.
Well done, Alan.
I did the pre-work.
Same on our end too.
EC18, that's an old school EC18.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we drove up here from Nashville, we brought a whole trunk full of bourbon with us, and this was among probably what we came.
Yeah, I've had this one for a long time.
So I think I finished off the EC18 at one of the tailgates this year. Actually, I know I did. My bottle.
Well, we don't have any tailgates here. There's no football at which to tailgate. So
Bob tailgates all the time at Maine games.
not quite the same as SEC, but
No.
we make do.
Never quite the same.
No, have you? Come on, like this man had lobster at his tailgate.
Right.
I only see that. I only see that on the Grove.
What's that?
It only happens on the Grove.
I'll say when Jake comes up for a game, we'll do a big Novios tailgating at the Maine football game.
Oh my gosh.
We'll bring the party.
We'll see if we can get Ed and Sandy away from their tent to come over and hang out with them.
Awesome.
As long as Billy Overboard's there, I'm good.
Billy's great on the grill. He's
Yeah.
good.
Jake, I'll bring some lobster, Jake.
All I want is a good lobster roll.
There you go. We can take care of that.
I've never had one, and I really would like one.
Oh, that's so sad.
That can start a whole fight.
So here's the thing: why get a lobster roll in Louisville, Kentucky,
of.
when I can go to Maine and get a lobster roll? Like, why ruin a good thing?
They have McDonald's down there.
You bring the bourbon. We'll bring the lobster.
Oh,
We'll get it done.
Shit, bringing bourbon ain't no problem.
Cool.
Jack.
I just took inventory. I'm at 227.
We had friends fly out from Louisville this summer, and they brought an entire suitcase full of bourbon for us, which was much
I'm driving,
appreciated.
so I can bring more than a suitcase.
Awesome. Don't get rear-ended. We'll have a party.
Oh no, we'll put it in the back seat for a reason.
Allison's husband Matt, I can honestly say distills the best whiskey in Maine out of his garage. Like out of what is produced in Maine, Matt produces the best whiskey in Maine right there, possibly legally in Winterport. It's
So you're
really good.
telling me it's better than whatever you sent me right here?
I sent that to you and I said, this is the best of the bad stuff that's comes out of Maine.
We don't mass produce. We only limited produce.
You limited produce to your household?
Yep.
This is my, here's a sample right here.
So you know what that reminds me of? If anyone watches New Girl, Nick, one of the people in New Girl, he like hits his like wood plank, and he's like, I got a bottle of whiskey here that John makes in his back seat or whatever, and like they start drinking it. Like, if that's the stuff, I'm in.
It was really good. So hopefully everybody got something out of this on just, even if you were guessing wrong or feeling different things, hopefully you can learn to appreciate what you're drinking just a little bit more and what you can pick up out of the flavors a little bit more, or different notes or anything else. Or at the very least, you've been introduced to 6 whiskeys that you may or may not have any type of relationship with up until this moment. So there may be one that you find in here that you like more, or you don't like. I know I don't like corn, or I know I don't like, things over 115 or whatever that range is. Because I feel like that's a big part of learning to drink whiskey is if you're not doing it to compete and you're doing it to enjoy, it's like learning what you like. So if you're here at the restaurant, here at the bistro, or you're down the road, or you're at home, or you're at Stompers or Damon's or anywhere else buying whiskey, you can be an educated consumer and know, like, I think I'm going to like this. I have a good chance of liking this. I know I'm not going to like this. And hopefully we introduce you to some things that are on a wide range of costs. Elijah Craig 18 is a hard to find, rare, expensive-ish bottle. Old Overholt bottled and bond is not, and they both are, in my opinion, good whiskeys. And they both offer some unique things to them. So hopefully that came in handy. I know I often will tell people the best bang for your buck is not your biggest buck. It's a lot of times isn't, there's pours you can find at different price points that are worth having. That being said, I really do like it when you buy the expensive stuff.
Hey, Bob, Sean is asking if all of these are available to buy at Stompers.
When they are available at Stompers, if that makes any type of sense. Old Ezra 7, Elijah Craig 18. Those will probably not be on the shelf regularly. The other 4 are everyday buys. Maybe not the Larceny. I saw Larceny there recently, so it's probably
maybe
there.
Larceny, probably not the barrel proof.
Yeah, but it's yeah. It'll something will be there in that range, in that from that portfolio. And there's always Elijah Craig. It just may not be the 18 year. They have
the small batch is great.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them. And if you ever want to see what Elijah Craig has at the non-age statement areas, we have that full lineup here. So we can.
And you can get try the barrel proofs. They're 12 years old. They're great. Go with the Bs. Don't go A or C.
So a couple kind of housekeeping things quick while we have everybody. Hopefully everyone enjoyed themselves. I'm reading a couple things in the chat. Nobody's saying they want a refund, so that's nice. Here is just a quick overview. Aisha is going to send out a little thank you email tomorrow. I believe this is in that email as well. Yep, she's nodding yes.
Yes, it is.
So you'll be able to see that in the email tomorrow, just as a reminder of what you drank, what you had, what you experienced. And that was, again, hopefully you enjoyed it. In the chat,
I think Bob, any restaurant that you go to should do this so you see what you did the next day.
There you go. Instead of an invoice or a bill, they just send you this.
Yeah. Yeah.
tuck it in your pocket and send you home with it. I would like to know in the chat what everyone thought their favorite of the 6 was. I think that would be kind of interesting to me, just as a frame of reference.
Restaurateur.
Yeah, I'd like to know what
Sure.
people like. And then I believe, Aish, we have a couple of upcoming, I'm trying to remember what's next. Yes, a couple of upcoming events. Thank you, Aisha.
I'm a
Monday,
mistake on the first bullet point, March event.
is it not March? It's February.
It says April, Noble Oak, because we changed the date right at the beginning of this call.
Yep. Thank you. So our April Noble Oak event has been changed to a March Noble Oak event. It's Monday, March 28th at 7:30. We're going to do it kind of a different way. Instead of having one of the distillers or one of the owners on the call with us, we're actually going to have their brand manager on the call, and he's going to be talking to us about the business side of distributing whiskey, from marketing, from allocations, from philanthropy to everything else on the back end of whiskey, not necessarily the distillation or anything else. So it's kind of like a business conversation, which I think will be a lot of fun. And we're going to be making some cocktails and tasting some whiskey with them. So that will be on Monday, March 28th. With John and Herb, if everyone remembers Herb from our past calls, will be joining us on that. And then on Monday, May 2nd, is our next Wyoming whiskey barrel release. So we're going to be doing a virtual event with that.
I'll be there.
Perfect. The name of the barrel is Kentucky Derby 2022.
It's not Billy Overboard too?
No, he only fell out one.
We'll be
But
at
the reason we chose that name is because I wanted a whiskey that was going to be perfect in a mint julep for the Derby, which brings us to Saturday, May 7th. We're shutting the restaurant down and we're doing a big Derby party. So those events, if you haven't already signed up for, will be on our events page. If they're not already there, the 2 Wyoming whiskey ones are. But the Noble Oak one is not yet, because I just finalized that date. And David DeFazio, I think we talked about this. David DeFazio, owner of Wyoming Whiskey, will be in Maine for May 7th with his family. Herb will be here, and I think Kim, their brand manager, will be here as well. And then, and I'm not sure who's doing that event with us on May 2nd, because I think David is going to be in the air traveling during that time. So that's our plan for that. And then on the next slide, I think we have some fun things. Oh, actually, Jake, you and I have an event coming up together too.
Yeah, so we have an event next Thursday. Thanks to Bob, we are going to be meeting with Macallan, and we're going to be talking about Macallan Scotch whiskey. They were very, excuse me, they were very nice to send us a care package, both Bob and I, and excited. So 8 p.m. on Thursday, February the 3rd. We will be hanging out in what we call the office, which is my basement. Bob will probably be at the speakeasy, and I will be, and we'll have Kieran, who is their national brand ambassador, on and drinking whiskey.
So that is an Instagram live.
Yep. Follow Bourbon Lens, follow Novios. You'll see us both there.
So, and then right here is how you can follow the Bourbon Lens podcast, but also make sure you listen. There are some great podcasts. You know, they're anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour long, but it's a great way to learn about whiskey, learn about whiskey in general, learning about specific things, or about individual brands and distilleries. So there's a lot of really cool information out there. The boys are easy to listen to, and it's a lot of fun. If you want to listen to the Wyoming whiskey one from a couple weeks ago, a fun drinking game is every time they mention Bangor, Maine, Bob, or Bistro, drink.
Yeah, that's pretty frequent in that podcast. You know, one of the things Bob asked us to include on here was the Patreon. Bob and Joey are both members of our Patreon account. We do tastings like this monthly, not set up like the World's Top Whiskey Taster, but as I mentioned during the call, like Joey and Bob will have the opportunity tomorrow to join us as we talk to Few Spirits. So their master distiller is coming to talk to us about their lineup of whiskey and what they're doing. In February, we have Widow Jane. So it's $7 a month. You get that. At $10 a month, you also get merchandise. So you get the Bourbon Lens glass. We have a Libby glass. At $15, you get the Libby glass as well as a t-shirt. And we are starting to orchestrate our barrel picks for those people who are not in Kentucky. So what we're doing is we're asking some of the brands that we have coming up to ship out samples to certain people so that they can taste along with us. You also get exclusive access to our barrel picks. So some things that we have coming up, we have a Starlight, which is in Southern Indiana, VDN, or rye finished VDN, which is Vino de Naraha, or as most people commonly know, Grand Marnier. We'll have a Penelope Blend Your Own. We will have a Frey Ranch, which is out of Fallon, Nevada. And it's not Nevada, it is Nevada. And we will have a Off Hours, which is an MGP bourbon, probably 5 years old, coming in April. So over the next 3 months, we'll have a lot of picks. And we are lining up our tastings for April, May, and June. We pretty much have it lined up, but April will, March will be Frey Ranch, and you'll get a little sample of our pick as well. And then in April, we will have Bardstown Bourbon Company, the people that put on the World's Top Whiskey Taster. So I will say this really quickly, World's Top Whiskey Taster will be promoting that over the next couple months. And that will commence over the summer. What you'll do is you go to worldstopwhiskeytaster.com and you'll submit a video, and then you'll have the opportunity to become the next World's Top Whiskey Taster. And if you want to know any more about us, you can follow along Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Unfortunately, I'm on TikTok. Scott's not, nor is Michael, but that's at Bourbon Lens. We respond to all messages. I guess at Patreon too, is at Bourbon Lens. So we appreciate the opportunity to hang out with you all tonight. Bob speaks very highly of all of you all. So thanks for including us Louisvillians here this evening.
Well, thank you, Jake. But I'll also say for $7 a month on that Patreon, you get the tasting every month. It's between 4 and 8 different tastes with a call. Joey and I have done a few together, and it's a lot of fun. It's a good way to learn. They're not uppity in the least bit, so it's a good way to experience things.
No, we bring the uppity and Bob to us.
Yeah, that's me. That's what I'm here for. So let me look through this real quick, what people's favorites were. I don't know, Aish, if you were.
I saw Legion was like a really crowd pleaser.
Elijah, Larceny, Mellow Corn. Thank you, Madeline. Legion.
I think you need more Legion on your bar.
It's the only one I have. Maybe that's what I'm learning.
Thanks, Michael.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you had a great time. Hopefully we'll see you in March, on March 28th. Hopefully we'll see you on Instagram. I would love it if we get a lot of presence from the Bangor community for that event with Macallan. We're going to be tasting Macallan 12 Sherry Oak, Macallan 12 double.
Hey, let's just do a little unboxing on live.
15, 18, 25. Yeah, look at this box, Jake. I'm a little.
Well, let's look at the fours. So we got
I told them, I said they have that single malt money, not the small bourbon money.
So they got the 25-year. They got the 12-year Sherry Oak. I just got this. My neighbor actually got it. They sent us the wrong address. The 18 double cask. The 15 double cask. I feel like we're gonna be hammered drunk on this podcast or on this Instagram one.
It's like the last one you and I did together.
Oh my gosh, I threw up. The 12-year-old Sherry, the 25-year-old Sherry.
It's
like the gift that keeps on giving. The 15-year-old double.
They left my box in the snowbank, like outside of our house. And my Annie found it, brought it in. And she goes, I'm like, I don't even know what this is. Opened it up, started going through it. And I was like, this is a $1,200 box of scotch and glassware that was just left in the snowbank.
Oh, and I forgot 12-year-old double cast. So I think I got one of each, like double cast and cherry cast.
Yeah.
And then I got the Macallan whiskey glass. That's, if we want to talk about being pretentious, it's the Macallan whiskey glass that's pretentious.
That's Lalique Crystal.
And to be honest, I got 2 of them.
Yeah. Throw those up on eBay. Put your boy through college. Up for Lalique Crystal.
No, I'm gonna put my chocolates in the fridge though. Yeah.
I saw a couple of heads pop up when you said chocolate. I was watching the screen, just so you know. So that is next Thursday. If you want to join us, either follow Jake at Bourbon Lens or follow the restaurant. Jump in on Instagram Live. If you have one of those Macallan bottles at home, you're welcome to.
And don't go Vols. Go Cats. Don't go Vols. I promise you, you're going to be a lot happier as a Cats fan than you are as a Vols fan.
If Manning was still quarterbacking, they were good back then.
No, actually, it took T. Martin for them to win a national championship. Boom, boom, boom.
I was just more going that Manning was their quarterback like 3 decades ago, so it's a long time ago.
Go Black Bears. Who's the Black Bears?
Stop it, Jake.
Are the Black Bears Maine? I thought they were just the Bears.
No, the mighty Black Bears.
Oh, my bad. I didn't know we had I got to learn the chants and the cheers before we do it.
I don't know if we have chants and cheers. Do we?
Well, we need to make you all an SEC school, SEC North, because you know what, Bob, we talked about this. The great offensive coordinator of the University of Kentucky Wildcats was the former OC at Maine.
There's a lot of really great coaches that are other places that used to be at Maine.
The great Liam Cohen was at Maine.
I see it. Minnesota. Yeah. Well, Minnesota. We had a coach at Minnesota for a while. Now he's at Rutgers. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually going to be. I'm trying to get an interview with Coach Mark Stoops, and I'm going to ask if I can talk to Liam Cohen to see if we can talk some Maine Mighty Black Bears.
That would be awesome.
Just for you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all so much. Hopefully we'll see you in the bistro soon. A lot of really fun things happening going on. Allison is quickly typing away.
Jim Bob Cooter. Golly. The Lions are terrible. Get out of here.
But thank you all so much. And we look forward to seeing you again very, very soon. Jake, I'll talk to you on Thursday. We're going to do that. And then we'll get you out here this summer or this fall.
It's got to be during football season. We gotta make it during fall. And I already got permission from the wife to take a week to do a road trip to Maine.
There you go. Raph, how about get them up for Labor Day? Is that Labor Day or Memorial Day? What are we doing?
Labor Day, right?
Labor Day.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
All right.
As long as the Cats don't have a home game, I got to work around that.
Okay.
Oh, God.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you all so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate you all. We'll
Yes.
see you again very, very soon. Cheers.
Guys, thank you.